Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Mercenaries video. So today we have kind of an interesting topic that I don't think anyone's really talked about in a while, and I thought it was something worth mentioning given that now we know the new Mercenaries are coming out very shortly next Tuesday, and even more importantly, perhaps, the fact that a excess coin fix is on the horizon that has the potential to bring people back to the game. And while excess coins are one of the kind of core reasons that I think Mercenaries has had a lot of struggles with getting new players and retaining active players, there's something else that I kind of wanted to talk about that I think is kind of an issue, especially in regards to new or returning players. And maybe it's something that we can see tweaked to kind of make the barrier to entry, especially for those new players, a bit better than it currently is. So we're going to get right on into it. Before we do, if you enjoy this type of content, do remember to like and subscribe. There's a ton to help out the channel and keeps the Mercenaries videos coming. But yeah, let's get right into it. So we have the wiki pages up here, and this is about tasks. So the big topic that I'm going to be focusing on here is not all tasks are created equal, and specifically, a lot of the launch mercenaries have tasks that are a lot more grindy and annoying to complete compared to the more recent new mercenaries that all kind of have rather similar tasks, so you can line them up and complete multiple at once, and they're just generally way less grindy and specific. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. Now, it is worth mentioning they already have actually tweaked some of these, and we'll look at that in a little bit. There is a pretty big list of tasks that they did improve, so there is kind of some precedent for that here, but it's something I hope they kind of push a little bit further on, because it really does feel night and day different grinding out tasks for the new mercenaries compared to a lot of the ones we had at launch and shortly afterwards. But yeah, we can see the Grom tasks here, and the link will be in the description for the tasks as well as the task changes if you want to take a look at them for yourself. But basically, pretty standard stuff. However, I mean, even in the beginning here, these are kind of high numbers. Like task 1, deal 55 damage with Blood Fervor. Task 2, deal 50 damage with Staggering Slam, and 120 using Battle Fury. These are kind of high numbers for if you're a person who does not have this character leveled up, which will be the case if you are a new player. And what makes this really stand out are some of the more really grindy and annoying ones, particularly task number 10. This is one of the ones that actually got changed. Gain 150 attack using Blood Fervor. That's kind of, it takes quite a lot of Blood Fervors to do, especially if you don't have him fully leveled up, which again, if you're doing his tasks, you probably don't. And then task number 12, Death Blow with Blood Fervor 25 times. As well as they do have some at the end here where this one isn't particularly as grindy as those other ones, but dealing 900 damage to a specific type of mercenary. It was also kind of one of the grindier ones that they have gotten rid of. And I mean, here we can see it again at task 17, gain 450 attack using Blood Fervor. That's just insane. That takes so long to do compared to just any of the new Mercs tasks. So we can, we're looking at Hook Tusk here, just as an example. Yeah, but this is true to any new mercenary that has dropped since the Sunken City mini set release. But if we look at her abilities, we notice a change right away. Instead of dealing damage with her skills, the early tasks for her, use skill 1 5 times, use skill 2 5 times. This is so much better, it's not even like remotely comparable. Now, some are the same, like completing heroic bounties and deal some flat damage. Those are fine. Nothing needs to be done to those. I mean, we can see Grom has some of those too, destroying the minions, deal flat damage, complete heroics. Those ones are all fine. It's really the specific ones that are just kind of needlessly grindy and kind of punishing to players who haven't already gotten them out of the way from playing for a while now. And it feels a lot worse, and I think one of the ways you can retain new players more easily is by just changing this and making it so all of the old mercenaries get rid of their unneedlessly grindy tasks
and just replace them with ones that we have here. We're just press the button 5 times. It's so much better. And I think this really made a significant difference. As someone who's been around since the start of the game, the task grinding used to really be a slog, even without factoring in the fact that we had to grind for mysterious strangers to progress tasks back then. It just took so much longer, and it felt like that was one of the intentional things that kind of had a pretty negative impact on the game mode, because they needed to kind of stall for time, as they knew a lot of the changes that people were asking for weren't going to be coming very shortly after the launch, as we can tell, given now we finally have an excess coin date just about a little bit under a year from the release of the game, which I'm sure is longer than many people, myself included, expected at launch. But yeah, we can see the ones for Hook Dusk are just a lot better. It's really just you're pressing the button, finishing a bounty, dealing flat damage. One new one they added that's really nice is just doing a mystery node or the spirit healer. That one's pretty easy to do. They also cut the damage dealing one down, I believe, and they got rid of that 900 damage to a specific type entirely. This is just really great because a lot of these you can stack. So if you have multiple mercenaries and they're both at, let's say, task number 11 here, that 450 damage you're doing, it counts for both of them. So you can actually complete multiple mercenaries at the same time, which really does speed up the grinding process and gets you closer to the gameplay most people actually want to be experiencing, whether that be PvP or PvE with, you know, not base level characters, actually having your skills and items leveled up, which is kind of the point of all these tasks. So now that we're kind of getting to that point where they don't really need to make this stuff extra grindy, I think it's really just a free win for them and for the future of the game to just make a change to where you just retroactively change a lot of these more annoying and tedious tasks for characters who, a lot of these characters, you know, we've talked about before on the tier list, a lot of these launch characters are still pretty unplayable, or they're just so much worse compared to more recent or even some of the other launch characters, that their task slot, you know, you get a task you don't want and then you can abandon it and maybe you won't get it the next day, but maybe your free reroll when the quest time goes around, maybe it doesn't give you a new one, it just gives you that same one, and that's a pretty big feels bad moment. So I did mention that they did change some of these already, so I figured we'd take a quick look at that. Now, some of these changes have been pretty significant, and they definitely are a step in the right direction, but I think the better move is just to retroactively just make it on all the characters so that they all line up. It makes grinding such a more pleasant experience and lets you get closer to experiencing the actual gameplay faster, which is basically how you avoid losing new players who feel that the game is too much of a grind. We can see the Grom one I talked about, the 150 Blood Fervor. It used to be 195, weird number. The Death Blow one was one of the worst ones in the game. It used to be 75 death blows, which is insane. Now it's 25. Some of these damage ones were lowered slightly. These don't make quite as much of a difference, but they're still not bad. These ones are really nice. The ones with dealing a specific type of damage just got changed to flat damage, and those are changes I want to see more of. Those are things I think they should really work on changing. This one was really weird. Heal 200 or 450 damage with Diablo, and Diablo didn't have healing. Now it's just deal that in damage. Here we can see with Tyrion, they just lowered his holy damage threshold. So it feels kind of strange how some of these got changed. I know one that was very common that a lot of people hated was the cookie one. Let's see if we can find it here. I think that change might have actually happened before this patch. No, it's all right. So it's the health one. Looks like, yeah. So there used to be one where you had to kill like 150 beasts or something insane. But I think they actually fixed that one before this adjustment where they did more of them, but gain 900 health using Fish Feast versus 300 health using Fish Feast. That's really huge. It's just pretty big, the changes that they did make, and it shows that they are willing to make these kind of changes. So I think if you do want to kind of do what we've been talking about for a while and kind of implement changes that get people more interested in the mode again, like this excess coin solution, like the PvE endgame, all that stuff. If you're going to be doing that, this seems like a relatively simple thing to do, and it would be a huge free win for the new player and returning player experience that would really help avoid a lot of the burnout a lot of new players or returning players end up feeling. But yeah, there's a lot of them here. Again, I'm not going to go through them all. There are some that were just really, really bad, like the Gruel 40 Dragons one was a huge pain, down to 10 dragons. So they really did make some very significantly good changes here, and that gives me hope that maybe they will kind of consider that again, because I know the feedback on these new mercenaries being able to stack up their tasks and just being generally faster and more enjoyable to complete has been very positive. So it seems like just a free win that will only help the game in the long term. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about for this one. Again, links in the description if you want to check out any of this information for yourself. It is kind of interesting to see, especially if you weren't playing at the time, how much worse some of these even still grindy tasks actually used to be, especially when you compare them to any of the newer mercenaries where you can pretty much do all their tasks in an hour or 2 hours in an afternoon, if that, while getting multiple other tasks done at the same time, which is just great. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed it, do remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.